A seemingly peaceful morning suddenly turned into a nightmare when the doctor walked out with a heavy face. That cold sentence rang out, "The fetus is in danger. We need the family to decide immediately." Before the fragile life of his unborn child and the life of the woman he loved. Jack was forced to choose. But what he decided after that made everyone present at the hospital that day stunned. Burst into tears? Watch the whole choking development in today's video. After the terrible accident at the intersection that day, Tien was still lying motionless on the hospital bed, her face pale, weak like a flower petal about to fall from its branch. The medical equipment was still emitting monotonous sounds, each beat like a heavy knock on Jack's heart. He had not left the hospital room for the past few days, staying by Tien's side with a pained gaze and a heavy heart. Every time he saw her lying there, motionless, not moving, not responding to his name, Jack felt as if every cell in his body was being suffocated. He held her hand every day, whispering in her ear with a trembling voice, "Baby, wake up. Everyone is waiting for you. I haven't even said thank you for bringing the contract. I haven't had the chance to tell you how much I love you. Wake up. We still have so many things to do together, and our child too. The baby hasn't even been born yet. Wake up." Every word Jack said seemed to convey his pain, hope, and endless torment, but Tien remained silent. Her eyelashes were still half closed as if she was in a long, tiring dream. The driver and his wife who caused the accident had been taking care of her intensively for the past few days. Both bowed their heads, their eyes filled with remorse. Their voices choked. "We are truly sorry. Everything happened so fast. I didn't have time to handle it. If I could turn back time, I would rather stop the car for a long time than let this accident happen." The wife also shed tears, holding her husband's hand tightly, continuously apologizing to Jack. Looking at them, Jack couldn't help but be moved. He knew, no one expected something like this to happen. Accidents are always unexpected and cruel. Jack shook his head slightly, his eyes still looking towards Tien. "The most important thing now is that she can wake up. As for the other things, we can think about them later. You too?" That sentence was not only a word of forgiveness, but also a prayer. Jack understood clearly. What he needed now was not punishment, not blame, but a miracle for the girl he loved to open her eyes, smile and call his name once again. He still sat there, his hand never leaving hers, his heart still beating for her. Jack's love at this moment, no need for lofty promises, but only wrapped up in a burning desire. "Tien, please wake up." While Tien was still lying unconscious, her life hanging by a thread, in another corner of the city, Mrs. Tui and her son, the domineering ex-mother-in-law, along with Tien's mean ex-husband, were busy with a new plot. The dilapidated rented house where the mother and son were living seemed to become even more humid and stuffy in the hot weather. On the old table, a bowl of noodles was still steaming. Mrs. Tui was eating and muttering, "This Jack is really hard to fool now. Before, just a little digging would get you a few coins. Now he's like a clam. I wonder if my son has found any clues. I haven't had any money for a few days. I'm starving. Let's eat a bowl of noodles to regain strength." She had just brought a few chopsticks of noodles to her mouth when the door opened. Tien walked in, looking dusty and sweaty. Before he could sit down, Mrs. Tui suddenly looked up and asked urgently, "How is it? Did you find out anything?" Tien looked at his mother, exhaled, and said, "You finish eating, Mom. I have something to discuss with you later." Mrs. Tui immediately put down her chopsticks, her voice urgent. "I won't eat anymore. Tell me now. I'm really impatient." Tien didn't hesitate any longer, pulled out a thin file bag from his jacket, and took out several printed photos. Placing them on the table, he slid each photo towards his mother. "Here, these are Tien's biological parents. It took me several days to ask around and dig through old relationships to get this information." Mrs. Tui leaned forward, picked up each photo, and observed it carefully. In the photo was a middle-aged couple, neatly dressed, with kind eyes and a benevolent expression on their faces. Mrs. Tui looked closely and squinted her eyes. "Looking at the way you dress, you must be from a well-off family? A rich family?" Her eyes flashed with calculation. Then she lowered her voice, giving a sly smile. "Now is the time for me to figure out a way to get money from Jack and dig up more from his birth family. Both sides have money. Why not grab a handful?" Tien nodded and took a small piece of paper from his pocket and gave it to his mother. "This is the home address of the two people in the picture. You had to dig really hard to get it. They are living in a suburban town. They seemed to be quite secretive. Mrs. Twee quickly took it, then urged Tien, "Give me the phone, I will call Jack right away." Tien handed over the phone. She dialed the number. After only a few rings, Jack's voice rang out on the other end, tired and worried. "Hello, I'm listening, Ms. Twee. I've found information about Tien's biological parents. Now I want to meet you to talk directly." Jack's voice faltered, then he sighed. "Ms. Twee, now I just hope Tien wakes up. If you can take me to meet them in person, I'd like to thank you. But if the meeting is like last time, talking back and forth and nothing comes of it, then I'll have to leave. Tien's health is not stable yet. I can't leave the hospital." After saying that, Jack hung up immediately, not giving Mrs. Twee a chance to reply. Mrs. Twee angrily looked at the phone, but then her eyes turned thoughtfully back to the photos. She had no idea that the two people in the photo, Tien's biological parents, were the old couple who had accidentally hit Tien in the recent accident. A heartbreaking irony of fate. But at this moment, none of them, including Jack or the other couple, recognized each other. The truth is still buried under the dust of time and events. As for Mrs. Twee and Tien, with their greedy calculations, they are gradually approaching a shock that they themselves cannot foresee, when the truth is revealed. Will they still have a chance to cling to money, or will they be drowned by the past? When Jack thought that everything had gradually stabilized, when Tien's vital signs in the past few days began to show signs of improvement, he dared to take a nap after many sleepless nights. But then, while he was pouring a glass of water outside the hospital corridor, the doctor from the emergency room rushed over, his voice urgent. "Where is patient Tien's family? She just had a critical episode. We are trying to handle it but need to sign some urgent papers." Jack was stunned. The glass of water fell and shattered at his feet. His heart seemed to stop beating at that moment. Just a few hours ago, Tien's hand was still moving slightly. He still hoped that she would wake up in just a few more days. But, without thinking, Jack rushed straight into the emergency room, his heart beating wildly, looking at the scene of doctors and nurses bustling around the bed where she lay. He felt helpless and in pain. The fear of losing Tien once again gripped him, suffocating him to the point of despair. An hour later, the emergency room door opened. The main doctor walked out, his voice tense. "The mother's condition is critical. The fetus is in heart failure and lacking oxygen. We need the family to decide, save the mother or keep the fetus." The room was silent. Even Jack's mother was stunned. As for him, eyes filled with blood, heartbroken, he had to choose. But what to choose now? Tien, the girl he loved, the one who had suffered so much loss and hardship for him. As for the baby, her own flesh and blood, a small creature waiting to be born. A minute passed, then 2 minutes, and Jack whispered to the doctor, "Save both, please do your best. If you have to choose, save her, I owe her a life." That sentence stunned the doctor. A decision, both painful and decisive. The surgery lasted for nearly 4 hours. Jack stood outside without leaving for a second, holding Tien's handkerchief from this morning, still carrying the familiar scent. And then, the operating room door opened again. The doctor walked out, smiling with relief. Both mother and child are out of danger. It's a miracle. Jack burst into tears, not because he was weak, but because he had kept too many things in his heart. In the end, he didn't lose anyone. But the decision in that life and death moment made everyone present that day understand one thing. True love is when people are willing to give up everything, just so that the person they love can live.